Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Tank presented by CW Sports Memorabilia. I'm your host, Tyler Rains, and there is some good stuff to talk about in this episode, some not so good, but we're going to break it down on this beautiful Friday afternoon. All right, now, I know we talked a little bit about last week. The Steelheads were struggling. They went 0-2-1 on the week in those three games. It's not great. Definitely wasn't a good record. And, you know, I mentioned that last week, every point matters. And that is the truth. There are 9 regular season games as of the time of this recording, which is right before tonight's game against Ottawa. The team that the Steelheads are facing tonight. And it's going to be no easy task. Just like the last time they ended up losing to Ottawa, you need to play strong. So first game of the weekend is against Ottawa. You won't be getting Charlie Callahan in the lineup. He's going to be missing out of the lineup for a little while. So you have to play sharp. And I'm not just talking Chaz Sharp, though, yes, he's probably going to be playing top line minutes on that first line. You have to play extremely sharp on your heels. Make sure that your defense is going to be better than their offense, because we've seen what happened the last time. They couldn't really defend as they wanted to. They were outmuscled. They were outshot. You just need to play sharp, stay strong, be conscious of the penalties, watch the turnovers. There's a lot that has to happen in this game to go right. But most importantly, lock down the defense, start on time, and play your game. Because we've seen this time and time again, when the Steelheads get into their own heads, they play the game that they want to play, it gets a lot better, and they end up getting a lot, in my opinion, a lot more dominant results. So they need to do those 3 things if they want to win this game. Start on time, lock down the goal, lock down on defense, and just be conscious of your penalties. Because penalties are going to kill you in this game, especially against a team like Ottawa who's thrived on the power play all season. Yeah, you just want to watch those. Second games against Kingston. Same thing as always. This season, just play your game. Start off strong. Build off the momentum in the first 5 minutes. Get the ball rolling, and you will dominate them. Because Kingston is, again, not one of the teams. They're, I believe, 7th or 8th place in the East. You know, they are not a particularly strong team. So it's going to be pretty easy to get those goals and to make sure that you're peppering shots on net. And, you know, most importantly, tighten up on the defense. Because over the last couple of games, and this is something that I'm probably going to echo for a little while until it starts to get a little bit better, Charlie Callahan is out of the lineup. And that hurts the blue line a lot. And by a lot, I mean it hurts the blue line more than people think. You need to play incredible defense. We've seen Parker Von Richter step up. We've seen Chaz Sharp step up. I'm really liking the role that Finn Harding is playing on the defense now with Charlie Callahan out. Those 3 especially have been incredible through the last stretch of games. That's what's really going to help you out. So the keys to the game against Kingston: play your game, build off the momentum that you have, and again, just keep that tight, solid defense. Now, there are a few players to watch in this stretch of games this weekend. So I want to start off with the youngster Porter Martone. So he usually seems to have good road games, and one of the examples from this is in his last 6 road games, he's got 6 points. And I would say probably most of them are at 5-on-5. So get Martone out there playing a lot. We've already seen how he generates plays. He makes those incredible passes. He scores some good goals, and he drives to the net like a lot of players really don't do as much. So I definitely think that Porter Martone is going to be one to watch. Angus McDonnell also been heating up. He's been looking very dangerous. He's been locked in, and the guy is, again, a 5-on-5 danger zone player. You never want to get him within 5 feet of the goalie because he will make something happen, whether that's a crisp pass, an amazing goal. It's going to be either highlight reel material or he's going to score. So you definitely want to watch him. McDonnell has been incredible over the last stretch of games too. I believe in his last 10 games, he's got 8 points, if I'm not mistaken. But this is one of the ones that I'm very excited to watch as well. And the final player to watch is Parker Von Richter. So you may have seen on our Instagram, he was player of the week last week. He had 4 block shots, including that incredible goal-saving shot block in the game against North Bay, which seemed to be just highlight reel. He's been insane when it comes to blocking shots and being that defensive juggernaut. Parker Von Richter is one of those defensemen that is from what I've seen from him so far, a very good shutdown defenseman who is super cautious in his own end and takes his time to make sure that those pucks don't get to the net. So those 3 players, McDonnell, Von Richter, and Martone, are going to be the 3 to watch for this weekend. It's going to be exciting. And now I was also going to talk about playoffs. Now, with there being 9 regular season games left, there are a couple of questions as to, number 1, who will the Steelheads be playing first round? Number 2, when are they going to clinch? So there are a few interesting scenarios as to who the Steelheads could play. So as of this recording right now, the Mississauga Steelheads sit in 6th place in the Eastern Conference, but they are only 3 points off of that 4th place spot, which is Peterborough. And here are some of the scenarios that could happen. So they're only 2 points behind Hamilton. They're only 3 points behind Peterborough. So there are 3 possible opponents that the Steelheads could end up playing. And it's either Barrie, if they finish in 6th. Not the ideal matchup per se, but that could be a good series. Hamilton, if they pass Peterborough and Mississauga passes Peterborough, they can end up playing Hamilton. Or I think the one that everybody is anticipating, that Peterborough plays Mississauga, and that's going to be most likely what will happen, because it's just bound by the time these two teams are, by the time the regular season is said and done, I think that it's going to be the Petes and the Steelheads. Why? Because they've both been very similar in their play style recently, in the fact that they win some games, they lose others, and the fact that they've been playing really solid defensive hockey compared to, say, a team like Ottawa that's just all offense. Now, here are the possible scenarios. So, for Mississauga, right, if Peterborough loses both games and if Hamilton loses both games, then the Steelheads would be playing the Petes in round 1, and I think for a lot of people that's a preferable matchup. If the Steelheads win 1 out of 2 and Hamilton loses both, it's going to be Peterborough again, because, you know, that's another possible matchup. And if Sudbury loses 1 out of 2 and Mississauga loses both, they would play North Bay. They would play Barrie. So if the Steelheads were to lose both, if Sudbury wins 1 out of 2 games, and let's say, for argument's sake, Peterborough loses 1 out of 2, Hamilton loses 1 out of 2, Mississauga is still going to be in that 7th place spot. Right now, they're tied with Sudbury for 6th place. So if Sudbury wins 1 game, Mississauga loses 1 game, they're obviously still going to be tied. So the Steelheads will still be in 6th, meaning that they will play Barrie, right? So this is going to be interesting, because here you have a team who is not done yet, right? We've seen time and time again the Steelheads team prove everybody wrong, that they can do more things than they're capable of. This is by no means final. It's just coming down to the wire. This is just me speaking on what could potentially happen in the playoffs in the first round. But the clinching scenarios, again, if the Steelheads win 2 out of 2, Peterborough loses 2 out of 2, and Hamilton loses at least 1, then the Steelheads are back in 4th place, meaning that they'll play the Petes. And I think like I said, for a lot of people, that's preferable. Hamilton wouldn't be a bad matchup either. The way that the Steelheads have played the Bulldogs this year is not completely terrible, and they've been able to do some damage against them. Playing Barrie or playing North Bay, I think would be worst case scenario for some fans. It might be a little bit tough to watch in some aspects because North Bay has been just dominant. And to say that the Steelheads would take them to a 7-game series, it could be possible. But will it happen? That's the question. Barrie is another team that they could probably ride out hard. I think they can get the win, but it all comes down to how they play, right? So it's either going to be North Bay, Barrie, Peterborough, or Hamilton, who they face. The East is still relatively wide open in that sense. And with, the final 9 games of the regular season, it's going to be very interesting to say the very least. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you off with one final question. And that question is, if the playoffs started today, let's say that the Steelheads were, in 4th place, determining who was going to battle it out, Hamilton, Peterborough, or Sudbury. Who would you rather play in the first round? Which one out of those 3 teams would you rather play in the first round? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll maybe talk about it next week when we do the show on Friday. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification for all future content, share it with your family, and don't forget to tune in for this Sunday's episode of Inside the Tank, where we break down the weekend's games and we do a preview into what's to come next week. Till then, thank you very much for watching. I was your host, Tyler Rains, and I'll see you next time.